Welcome back to SaaS Startup Academy, your go-to resource for all things tech, AI, and ethical innovation. In episode 4 of our series, we'll dive deep into a crucial and often controversial topic: ethics in data collection and usage. Data is the lifeblood of today's digital economy, powering everything from targeted advertising to personalized services. But as companies collect more data, there are growing concerns around privacy, consent, and the ethical use of this information. How do we ensure that data collection practices remain ethical and compliant with the law? What responsibilities do businesses have toward users whose data they collect? And how do data privacy laws like GDPR and CCPA influence the way organizations handle data? In today's episode, we'll explore the importance of ethical data collection, explain key data privacy laws like GDPR and CCPA, and highlight why consent and anonymity are fundamental in responsible data usage. By the end of this episode, you'll have a solid understanding of the ethical principles that should guide any data-driven organization. If you're ready to explore the ethical landscape of data collection and usage, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. Let's get started. The importance of ethical data collection. Let's begin by understanding why ethical data collection is so critical, not just for businesses but for society at large. In today's digital age, data is everywhere. It fuels AI systems, drives targeted marketing, helps businesses understand customer behavior, and more. Yet, with this incredible power comes an equally significant responsibility: the obligation to handle that data ethically. So, why is ethical data collection important? 1. Building trust with users. Trust is one of the most valuable assets a company can have. Users are more likely to engage with platforms they trust. When data is collected transparently and used responsibly, customers feel more secure sharing their information. Conversely, when data is misused or collected without consent, it can lead to a loss of trust that's difficult to recover from. Ethical data collection fosters a relationship where users feel respected and in control of their data. 2. Avoiding legal repercussions. In an era where data privacy regulations are growing stricter, ethical data collection isn't just a moral obligation, it's a legal one. Failure to comply with data privacy laws can result in hefty fines, reputational damage, and loss of consumer trust. Businesses must be aware of the legal landscape, which we'll discuss later, and ensure they're following the rules to avoid these costly penalties. 3. Enhancing customer experience. Ethical data collection practices can enhance the customer experience. By being transparent about what data is collected and why, companies can improve personalization without crossing privacy boundaries. Customers appreciate tailored experiences, but they also want to know that their data is being used for their benefit and not being exploited. 4. Supporting innovation with responsibility. In many ways, data drives innovation. But innovation should never come at the cost of ethical standards. Responsible data usage encourages creativity while ensuring that new technologies and services respect users' rights. It's about balancing technological progress with the ethical treatment of those who make that progress possible, users themselves. 5. Reducing the risk of data breaches. When companies collect data ethically, they're also more likely to protect it appropriately. Ethical data collection includes ensuring robust security practices to safeguard sensitive information. Data breaches can lead to significant financial and reputational damage. When users' private data is compromised, trust is eroded, and companies may face lawsuits and regulatory scrutiny. Ethical companies prioritize security as part of their data collection processes, reducing the likelihood of breaches. In summary, ethical data collection isn't just a buzzword, it's a fundamental practice for businesses that want to build long-term trust with their users, avoid legal pitfalls, and operate responsibly in the digital landscape. Data privacy laws, GDPR, CCPA, and compliance. As data collection practices have become more widespread, so has the demand for regulation. Two of the most influential data privacy laws are the General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR, and the California Consumer Privacy Act, CCPA. These laws set the standard for how companies should collect, store, and use personal data, and they've become essential frameworks for businesses worldwide. GDPR, General Data Protection Regulation. The GDPR is a data protection regulation implemented by the European Union, EU, in May 2018. It applies to any organization that collects or processes the personal data of EU citizens, regardless of where the organization is based. This law is known for its stringent requirements and significant penalties for non-compliance. Here are some key aspects of the GDPR. Consent. Under the GDPR, companies must obtain explicit consent from individuals before collecting their personal data. Consent must be freely given, informed, and specific, meaning users must know exactly what they're agreeing to and for what purposes their data will be used. Right to access. Individuals have the right to know what data is being collected about them and how it is being used. They can request access to their data at any time. Right to be forgotten. The GDPR gives individuals the right to request the deletion of their personal data. If a user no longer wants their data to be used, or if the data is no longer necessary for the purpose it was collected, they can request that it be erased. Data portability. Users can request that their data be transferred to another service provider in a structured, commonly used, and machine-readable format. Data breach notifications. If a data breach occurs that risks individuals' privacy, companies are required to notify the relevant authorities within 72 hours and inform affected individuals without undue delay. The GDPR sets a high standard for data privacy and forces companies to take user data seriously. Non-compliance can result in fines of up to 20 million euros or 4% of global annual revenue, whichever is higher. This hefty penalty has made GDPR compliance a priority for businesses worldwide. CCPA, California Consumer Privacy Act. The CCPA is a landmark privacy law passed in California that went into effect in January 2020. It gives California residents more control over their personal information and applies to businesses that collect data from Californians. Here are some key provisions of the CCPA. Right to know. Similar to the GDPR, the CCPA gives consumers the right to know what personal data is being collected about them, how it is being used, and whether it is being sold or shared with third parties. Right to delete. California residents have the right to request the deletion of their personal data, with some exceptions, e.g., if the data is needed to complete a transaction. Opt out of data sale. One of the unique aspects of the CCPA is the right to opt out of the sale of personal data. Companies must provide a clear and conspicuous way for users to opt out of having their data sold to third parties. Non-discrimination. The CCPA prohibits businesses from discriminating against users who exercise their privacy rights. For example, companies can't charge higher prices or deny services to consumers who opt out of data collection. Children's privacy. The CCPA includes special protections for minors. Companies must obtain opt-in consent to sell the data of consumers under the age of 16. Like GDPR, the CCPA comes with significant penalties for non-compliance, including fines of up to $7,500 per violation. Additionally, consumers have the right to sue companies for data breaches that result in the unauthorized disclosure of personal information. Both GDPR and CCPA have set new global benchmarks for privacy protection, influencing data laws in other countries and U.S. states. Businesses operating in a global market must navigate these regulations carefully to avoid costly penalties and maintain consumer trust. Consent and anonymity in data usage. In the age of data, it's easy to forget that behind every dataset is a person whose privacy and autonomy must be respected. Consent and anonymity are two crucial principles in ethical data usage that help ensure that users' rights are protected. 1. Informed consent. Consent is one of the foundational principles of ethical data collection. It means that individuals should have a clear understanding of what data is being collected, why it's being collected, and how it will be used. They should also have the opportunity to opt in or opt out of data collection. The key here is informed consent. For consent to be meaningful, it must be freely given, specific, informed, and unambiguous. Companies can't hide behind vague or misleading privacy policies. Instead, they need to be transparent with users, providing clear information in a way that's easy to understand. Informed consent ensures that individuals retain control over their personal information and can make decisions based on their preferences and values. It also builds trust, showing users that their privacy matters to the organization. 2. Anonymity and pseudonymity. Anonymity in data usage refers to the process of removing or masking personal identifiers from data so that individuals cannot be identified from the information. This is particularly important when using data for analytics or research purposes. By anonymizing data, companies can use valuable insights from datasets without compromising individual privacy. However, true anonymity can be difficult to achieve, especially with large datasets where indirect identifiers can sometimes be pieced together to reveal personal information. In such cases, pseudonymity can be used as a middle ground. Pseudonymization involves replacing identifying information with artificial identifiers, allowing data to be analyzed while maintaining some level of privacy. Anonymity and pseudonymity help protect users' privacy while allowing companies to leverage data for legitimate purposes. However, businesses must ensure that their processes are robust enough to prevent re-identification of individuals, particularly when combining data from multiple sources. 3. Minimizing data collection. Another critical principle is data minimization, the idea that companies should only collect the data they need for a specific purpose. Just because data can be collected doesn't mean it should be. Ethical companies limit their data collection practices to what is necessary, reducing the risk of misuse or exposure of sensitive information. In the era of big data, this principle can be challenging to implement, but it's essential for maintaining trust and complying with privacy regulations. Collecting excessive or irrelevant data can put organizations at risk of breaching privacy laws or mishandling sensitive information. Conclusion: in today's digital landscape, ethical data collection and usage are more important than ever. From building trust with users to ensuring compliance with laws like GDPR and CCPA, companies must prioritize ethical practices in everything they do. This includes obtaining informed consent, protecting user anonymity, and collecting only the data that's necessary. As we move further into a data-driven future, businesses that embrace these ethical principles will be better positioned to innovate responsibly, avoid legal pitfalls, and build long-term trust with their customers. If you found this episode insightful, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you can stay up to date with all our future episodes. In the next episode, we'll dive into the fascinating world of AI governance and how it's shaping the future of technology. Stay tuned.